Hi there. We're going to film another episode today on the river. We are in Colorado on the Poudre River, which I had to film this episode on the river because this is a fishing story. And it's a real important one for me to tell. Lord's been on me to share this one. And in the last episode, I was a little bit worked up because of one of the content of deliverance and the other one about I had just rode my bicycle over to the set where I was going to film at, and my heart rate was still up when I was talking, so hopefully I'll be a little bit more at peace telling you this story because I hiked here. Anyway, here we go. Those of you that know me know I love to steelhead fish, and this story takes place in down in Bandon, Oregon, and I hired a fella down there named Todd Freetag, and to help me fish down there. I hadn't fished down there before, and he was a guide down there. And the first trip I took with him was a 3-day fish and in a drift boat, and he was a master at drift boating, master at using his equipment and stuff. So he had a great reputation, so I hired him to take me steelhead fishing. So he was telling me that, usually steelhead you catch one a day, and that's pretty darn good because it's trophy fishing, right? And they're real big. And he told me if I was any good at fishing, if I'm as near as good as I say I am, then he'd get me in a double-digit day, meaning more than 9 fish a day. And I didn't believe him, but I went anyway. And I met with him the first morning, and we took off in dark, and heck of a nice guy, just super guy, and great guide as well. So we get to fishing and carrying on, and I only get like 4 or 5 that first day, but still, it was still good fishing. And then I asked him, I said, hey, what about this double-digit day? And he said, Trace, you've been Harry Pottering your rod all day talking. Surprise. And he said, if you'll settle down and not talk so much, we'll get you into more fish because you missed a bunch today. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So the second day we go out. And by the way, Dana was with me on this trip. She was back at the hotel room enjoying the beach. So we set her up with a fireplace, a book, and a beach. And she was perfectly good with that. So the second day I did exactly what he said. And darn if I didn't increase my numbers. And we had a wonderful day. So, and we're running all these rivers. But here comes the important part of this trip. So by this time in my life, I heard from the Lord. I was hearing from the Lord a lot. Not a lot, but consistently is the word I'm looking for. And I was 4 or 5 years into getting visions. I didn't really know what to do with them. Anyway, that's kind of a side note. So the third day we're drifting down this river, and I'm in the bow of the boat, a drift boat. There's 2 guys in it. I'm looking at the river and everything. We hadn't caught too many fish that day. And I'm like, Todd, have I ever been here before? And he said, no, Trace, we haven't fished here yet. And I'm like, He's like, what's up? I'm like, well, and I mutter some stuff. And he said, all right, what's going on? I said, well, I don't know if you're a believer or not, but, and this was one of the first times I shared my vision that I had. I said, I get visions from the Lord. And a lot of times I don't know what to do with them, but This one, I've been here before. I've seen this riverbank. I pick a fish up out of the water and I get a picture taken. And I've been here before. I said, "You sure it's not? It's not. We haven't been here." He said, "No." And I said, "Well, the Lord gave me this vision, and I'm not sure what to do with it, but I'm going to tell you about it." So, and he's like, I think he thought I was a little crazy. But anyway, so we go on down the river, and it's a one-way deal usually. It's you're going with the current, and you're drifting with the current. Well, we get about some ways past that. Oh, I hook up on this big one, and I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it. I'm on the bow of the boat, and he's one of the only guides I've ever known to carry a motor on the back of his drift boat. Now, they don't typically do that. They're all oars. So this fish takes off upriver, and we're going after it. And he says, "Stay with that fish, Trace. I'll get on the motor." So he gets on the motor, and it's just amazing to watch this guy work through the debris and the rocks and the trees coming down the river, because it's in the Pacific Northwest. There's lots of debris in the water. And we're wiggling around, and we get up over this rock formation. He drives right up over the rocks. He's got a cage on the bottom of his motor so it doesn't get impacted. The propeller doesn't get smacked on rocks. He built this cage around there so that it can take the rocks. It's unbelievable what he would do. Anyway, so we're finally getting up on it. I'm getting closer to it, reeling it in. And I'm on a spin reel, not a fly rod. And I'm reeling in the line and catching them, and he's jumping, carrying on like they do. And we finally pull over in this sandbar, and I land the fish, and we net it. And I turned to Todd, and I said, "Todd, that was a heck of a fight. Do you know where we are?" He said, "Where, Trace?" And I said, "Look across the river. There's that stump. There's that rock that I was telling you about. I've had this vision before. This is the fish. We came right back to that spot that I had the vision at." And he's like, "Trace, that's crazy." Well, this is interesting too. When he was taking a picture of it, he took movie of it, pictures of it, and I was picking it up to get pictures. Another drift boat goes by, and now we hadn't seen a drift boat in 3 days come in behind us. Drift boat goes by, and I Hollywood them. You know what Hollywood is? It's when you pick up your fish in front of them as they go by so they can see the fish. It's called Hollywood. Anyway, I Hollywood him, and he's taking pictures of me. Nice fish, and nice big buck steelhead. I don't know, 20 pounder, 40 some inch. And it's just a beautiful buck, and native buck. And it hit me that I was seeing Todd and myself on the riverbank with that fish through the eyes of those people drifting by. And they kind of all applauded and everything as they went by. They were pretty happy for us. And Todd and I took a bunch of pictures. And I praised the Lord after that. And I looked at Todd, and he said, "That was incredible, Trace. I never even heard of such a thing like that." And I said, "Well, it's pretty cool, isn't it?" And I prayed and thanked the Lord for that beautiful moment with the Lord, with a vision, and with Todd. So Todd and I fished years after that, a couple, 3 years, and we had an excellent time. I took friends with me, and we steelhead fished with Todd. Well, one year he wasn't feeling good and called in sick, which was really strange for him. He was really committed. And next year he's like, "Trace, I don't know that I can guide anymore. I'm too sick." And I'm like, "Oh no." So, but I asked him on that trip if he was a Christian. He said he wasn't. And I said, "Well, that's okay." He said, "But my daughter's been after me to come to the church, and I don't know." And I said, "Well, this is what it's done for me," kind of thing, But anyway, we have mutual friends down there in Oregon, and our mutual friend was telling me that he was pretty sick. Turns out he had cancer, pancreatic, like the worst kind. And I was just heartbroken after all those times fishing together. And Lord had me drive all the way across the country and go on the hospital bed, and I prayed for him, and doggone it if we didn't lose him. But here's something that happened before he went. Interestingly enough, I heard this from a mutual friend, that he got saved, and he became a man after Christ's heart. And the year before he died, apparently he was, as people would come visit him, and he would ask them, how can I pray for you? And here he is on a short list, and here he is, how can I pray for you? And he was helping people as they came and see him. And that was Todd. Todd had more Christian virtues than a lot of Christians I know. And he wasn't. He was just a really super special guy. I love that man big time. And I'm wearing his cap in commemoration of him today. I'm dedicating this episode to him. And I did talk to his widow and got permission to talk about this story. And but that's my steelhead fishing story. And Lord wanted me to share the vision that I had during that and how I shared the vision. And the takeaway on this is, don't keep your visions to yourself. If the Lord tells you to share them, because he's on me to share some of these, and I have more of these I'll be sharing. I didn't tell anybody about this, and I usually don't. So when I get a vision now, I pray, Lord, do you want me to share this vision, or is this just for me? And they're super precious to me. And that story with Todd was super special for me and him. I think he thought, like I said, I think he thought I was a little crazy, a little spooky or something. I don't know. But anyway, filmed it at the river today and wore his cap. So if you want to see us actually catching that fish, I have a video. You have to look down. I might even put a link to that video in the description, but look at my other videos and find Oregon 2015 part 1. And that particular fish is in between 3 and 4 minutes on that video. You'll know that it's the fish because the camera is stuck on the net right behind my elbow, and it comes around and you get to see the fish. So that's if you want to see the actual catch of that fish I'm talking about. This episode's for Todd.